Hi everyone and welcome once again to NJPW Extra. I'm Chris Charlton right here in the NJPW Event Center where we're coming away from Sakura Genesis. We have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. His name is SANADA, and that has had a big effect on cards coming up this weekend. April the 15th, Capital Collision in Washington, D.C. and April the 16th, Collision in Philadelphia in the legendary 2300 Arena. Without any further ado, let's take a look at what got us to these big events in the US this weekend on pay-per-view. April the 8th in Ryogoku Sumo Hall saw Sakura Genesis and an incredible main event between SANADA and the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at the time, Kazuchika Okada. There was a lot of doubts over whether SANADA could pull off the big one after so many attempts in the past and a recent change of his allegiance from LIJ into just 5 guys. But it was a never say die attitude and his new deadfall finish that led SANADA to IWGP World Heavyweight Gold for the very first time. He didn't have much time to celebrate, as making his way to ringside was his former teammate and ally, Hiromu Takahashi. The Time Bomb had just defended the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against all odds after sustaining severe damage to the knee by challenger Robbie Eagles. But Hiromu would be first to step up and challenge SANADA, and the new champion accepted on one condition: the first Hiromu Takahashi defend IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship Gold April the 27th in Hiroshima against the heel master Yoshinobu Kanemaru. That set up a huge tag team featured match Saturday night in Washington, D.C. as Capital Collision will see the first ever in-ring appearance of SANADA as IWGP World Heavyweight Champion in a dual preview of Wrestling Dongtaku. It's SANADA and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito, an all-star tag team match with plenty to get stuck into for the fans in DC. As for the former champion Kazuchika Okada, he reunites with Dream Team partner Hiroshi Tanahashi in our main event. The strong openweight tag team championships are on the line when Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin defend their titles. It was at Multiverse United that Shelley and Sabin issued a challenge to Hiroshi Tanahashi for Capital Collision. But the former strong openweight tag team champions Aussie Open were not to be denied. They lost their titles without being pinned back last fall in New York and wanted another shot, leading to this three-way. Now Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, having overcome incredible odds in Ryogoku and with injury, sweat, tears and blood shed, are for the first time IWGP Tag Team Champions and could leave DC with double gold. Also defended in DC is the strong openweight singles championship currently held by Kenta, as he faces Eddie Edwards of Impact Wrestling for the first time since the two were sharing Pro Wrestling Noah locker rooms in the early 2010s. In their first singles match in a decade, Kenta will put the strong openweight gold on the line in a big night for Bullet Club. It was at Sakura Genesis that the new Bullet Club leader, self-appointed at least, or appointed by Gedo, struck El Phantasmo out of Bullet Club, and at the same time issued a challenge to the Never Openweight Championship. Kenta, meanwhile, got in the face of Hikuleo, but first he has to deal with Eddie Edwards. And David Finlay has to deal with AR Fox from AEW. It's an interesting pair of matches, with an extra twist in the match immediately afterwards. Juice Robinson will have to pay for costing Fred Rosser the strong openweight championship the other month, as they go head-to-head in one-on-one competition. But with Juice Robinson flying the AEW banner and you-know-who making a recent appearance at AEW Dynamite, there might be some intrigue in the locker room in Washington, D.C. The NJPW World TV Championship will also be on the line, at Capital Collision as Zack Sabre Jr. defends against Tom Lawler. It was a fantastic defense for Zack Sabre Jr. in the face of Shota Umino. Umino bringing all the fight he had, including the Death Rider. But it was a sneaky pin that saw Sabre steal away with the NJPW World TV Gold. Now he will put Tekkas on the line against Tom Lawler, and this rivalry between Zack Sabre Jr. and Tom Lawler will finally be settled. Who has the better Tekkas, and just who is better out of Boy George and George Michael anyway? We'll find out this Saturday night. Meanwhile, championship intrigue spills over from Capital Collision into Collision in Philadelphia, and much talk has been made about the IWGP United States Championship currently held by Kenny Omega. After Omega defended his championship against Jeff Cobb on AEW Dynamite, he was short of a contender. And now we have a mini tournament. 4 former IWGP United States heavyweight champions will collide, facing off in Philadelphia, Long Beach, and then in Osaka for the right to challenge Kenny Omega. In Long Beach this May, it will be Will Ospreay versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. But in Philadelphia Sunday at Collision, it's going to be Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson, their first singles match since 2019 on a fateful night for the US Championship. We'll see a wild affair indeed, but who will advance to Dominion in Osaka this June? One other championship will be on the line in Philadelphia, the AEW International Championship. Gabriel Kidd was originally scheduled to battle the Mad King Eddie Kingston in Philadelphia. But as Eddie Kingston was sidelined with an injury, AEW provided a hell of a replacement in Orange Cassidy. Now that Orange has successfully defended his AEW International Championship, he will put it on the line against the Young Bull, who would make an incredible representation of AEW's international title if he can get past the ever enigmatic Cassidy. With an incredible main event topping the card in Philadelphia that will see Hiroshi Tanahashi, Lio Rush, and Tomohiro Ishii take on Aussie Open and TJP of the United Empire, it's another night that you do not want to miss. Buy the pay-per-view bundle right now on FITE TV, or be there in person with tickets still available on NJPW1972.com. Incredible matches, incredible events coming up. Washington, D.C. this Saturday night, April the 15th and the 16th. It's Collision in Philadelphia at the legendary home of hardcore, the 2300 Arena. Tickets on sale, NJPW1972.com, and we hope that you join us live on pay-per-view, NJPW World and FITE. And speaking of major events, how about this weekend in Australia as well? We're in Adelaide, Sydney and Melbourne for NJPW Tamashii, and then we are on the road to Dontaku. Major events, major title matches, and a big tour closer, May the 3rd, live in English on NJPWWorld.com. We'll talk more about all the big happenings of Dontaku and beyond next time on NJPW Extra. Until then, go kigenyo, sayonara.